She was a woman who seemed very familiar with him. Just at that moment, Steven suddenly heard someone calling his name. He thought it was a hallucination, but then he saw the person in the mirror shaking her head at him. Immediately after, the lights began to flicker on and off. Steven wanted to leave right away, but the more anxious he became, the more the elevator doors refused to close. A monster with a bird's head and a human body appeared in the corridor opposite him, but as it stepped into the elevator, it transformed into an old woman. By this time, Steven was so terrified that he was paralyzed with fear. His actions also frightened the old woman, but what he didn't know was that the monster had quietly come up behind him. In the next second, he found himself on a bus, but he could still see the figure of the monster through the window. Steven quickly got off the bus near the company. At that moment, he saw a familiar figure. It was Arthur. It turned out that the dream he had that day was real. He then went to the museum and told the security captain that he was being followed. But to his surprise, Arthur had arrived at the museum before him, and the surroundings were filled with Ammit worshippers like Arthur. With no other choice, Steven had to negotiate with him, saying that he didn't have the damn scarab on him. Seeing his lack of cooperation, Arthur forcibly subjected him to a trial. But to everyone's surprise, the scale pattern on Arthur's arm began to swing up and down, a phenomenon that had never occurred before. So Arthur had no choice but to let Steven go. That evening, after finishing his overtime work and preparing to go home, Steven thought he heard strange noises. It seemed that the reflection of himself in the mirror had separated from him. In the next second, a huge figure appeared in front of him. It was a jackal summoned from hell. Steven hid behind a display cabinet, not daring to make a sound. At the critical moment, he used his backpack to attract the monster's attention, which only bought him a brief moment of safety. Soon, the jackal found him again. The jackal seemed unfamiliar with the layout of the museum. After 2 failed attempts to catch him, Steven managed to escape to the restroom. But before he could catch his breath, something eerie happened again. He found that his reflection in the mirror was actually talking.
I can't have you fighting me this time. You need to give me control, you understand?
Steven couldn't believe what was happening before his eyes. The jackal was about to break through the steel door, and his reflection in the mirror kept persuading him. Finally, Steven agreed. In an instant, it seemed that a mysterious force filled his entire body. Even though the jackal had broken through the steel door and knocked him to the ground, the scene shifted to the jackal trying to escape. At that moment, a mummy wrapped in a white cloak was pinning it down and rubbing it against the ground. This satisfying blow officially marked the grand entrance of the protagonist of this story, your Night Guardian, Moon Knight.